A familiar San Francisco landmark sets the backdrop for one of the city's oldest and grandest traditions. The Bruce Mahoney rivalry, Sacred Heart Cathedral and St. Ignatius from Kezar Stadium. Yeah, it might feel like it's October, they're playing football, but the calendar says April. And there's a good reason for that, the COVID-19 pandemic. And a very pleasant good evening to you. I'm George Devine alongside Steve Nicolopoulos. And Steve, it's great to see them playing football. This game was supposed to take place in the fall, but it's part of a truncated season here in the spring. This is exciting for these young men.
No, this is great that the seniors get an opportunity to go ahead and play before their high school careers go ahead and end.
And one of those seniors for St. Ignatius, Shockey Gallegos Hunkin, a third-year starter, Steve. He anchors a Wildcat defense for a club that's trying to go to 3-0.
No, Coach has nothing but great things to say about him. He's an animal in the middle. He's the middle linebacker, the Mike linebacker, and he's all over the field. He's great in pass coverage. He's outstanding making tackles in the open field, and he fills the gaps like a madman.
And for the Fighting Irish, head coach Barry McLaughlin says his main wide receiver, Tyrese Ivey, might be one of the best players who's not signed to a Division I letter of intent. And you can see why quarterback Kean Dowling loves to throw to him.
No, he's got hands like sticky glue. He catches everything. But he's not only a receiver. They use him everywhere. He's like a Swiss Army knife. He runs with the ball. He'll take it on the jet sweep. He does everything for the offense. So there's going to be a great matchup here tonight, George. These two great stars, seniors, on their way out, playing against each other for the last time.
And on the biggest stage for both these schools, a rivalry that goes back to the 1800s. We'll have the 2021 version of it coming up next. You're following St. Ignatius and Sacred Heart Cathedral on the Bay Area Online Sports Network.
Do you know SI?
Do you know SI?
Do you know SI?
Do you know SI?
I chose SI because it's a high school community that everybody's excited to be in.
SI is the kind of place you don't have to choose between being an athlete and an actor.
Kids that do arts, kids that do sports can really be friends.
We're all so different, and we celebrate that.
Everyone together, no matter who you are, is so enriching to be with people that have the same love for your school as you do.
The stuff that you learn here isn't just math and science, it's how to be a better person.
I think a lot of Jesuit values have helped me, even though I'm not a Catholic person. Jesuit is being with and for others.
Helping each other discover our common humanity, pushing each other to be our best selves. That's why SI is so great, is because we use that Jesuit mindset.
Jesuit is being open to growth.
High school is definitely a trial and error.
Being able to try new things or experience new things.
You have many opportunities to become a new person and really express yourself.
Jesuit is being intellectual.
The things you're learning in the classroom, you're fully encouraged to take out into the world and to apply to your personal experience.
Jesuit is being religious.
Our motto is finding God in all things.
It's about finding a way to be connected to God that's unique to you.
Jesuit is being loving.
It all starts with finding yourself and loving yourself.
No one's left behind. Everyone has a place.
Jesuit is being committed to justice.
I am so grateful for what I have, and now I want to help the world. So it does improve and progress.
Jesuit is being called to leadership.
Leadership is not really about the roles, the names, the titles that you're given.
I think SI provides a lot of opportunities for students to lead, whether they feel like they're the outspoken leadership type or they don't think they'd ever be seen as a leader.
You are a leader in some way or another.
This is Jesuit.
This is Jesuit.
This is Jesuit.
This is SI.
This is about more than work. It's about growing a community. Every day, across the country, the highly skilled, highly trained members of the IBEW are committed to doing the job right, doing the job safe, and doing the job on time. Because while we might be experts in our field, we're also your friends and neighbors. IBEW, the power professionals in your neighborhood.
One of our successes has always been able to find the B personalities, and the B personality just stands for Butler, which means fitting into our organization. We could have been a much bigger company if we had chosen to be, but it's been the philosophy of both myself, Bill, and the leadership team to stay at a size that we really know all of our team members and their family members, because we're only as good as the team member sitting next to us.
I've been coming to Mobius for over a year and it's changed my life. Ever since I started coming here, I've gotten in more shape. I've met great people.
If you're just new and you want to start out, you don't have to find your own way to do it. You get people that are showing you exactly what you need to do, so it gives you a perfect program.
The classes are great. There's high energy. We like to have a great time. They play great music and we get a workout in super quick and we can get on with our day.
The best food deserves the best salsas. I can assist you, for I am El Salsa Recommender. Carnitas Burrito, the Volcan. Steak and Prawns, Oaxaca. Tacos al Pastor, Molcajete. Salsa is not about the heat, it's about the flavor. My work here is done.
Who is that?
I don't know.
Pancho Villa Taqueria. I recommend it.
Our smiles can light up a room. Our work can light up an entire city. We're the men and women of the IBEW, working with a code of excellence that guarantees the job will be done right, on time, and safely. We're lighting the path to the future. Let us show you just how bright that path is.
And you are looking live at Kezar Stadium in San Francisco, the site of tonight's showdown between St. Ignatius and Sacred Heart Cathedral. You can see the Wildcats off in the distance wearing the white as the designated visiting team, and the Fighting Irish of Sacred Heart Cathedral in the green and the white. They're the home team. And Steve, you know, we talked about it a couple minutes ago. It feels like October, even though the days are a little longer. It's April.
Yeah, no, we still have the sun that's out bright and shining here, and usually in October it's setting over the coast there.
Yeah, by this time it's dark. As the late Bill King would say, calling A's games, the lights have taken full effect. So you see John Regalia, the head coach at St. Ignatius, a great record. A couple of section titles during his 10-year run on the Wildcats sidelines. Played at Oregon State. SI class of 92. And the Wildcats getting set to kick it off.
Yeah, Coach Regalia was really good in our phone conversations this week. Gave us a lot of information. Great guy.
So there you see Tyrese Ivey off to the right of your screen. Cooper Lucy will kick it off. I think the key here, Steve, is keep it away from Ivey. They keep it away from everybody. And that's a healthy kick from Lucy.
Yeah, no, that's a great kick, and he's got a lot of aid here with the wind at his back. Here at Keysar, blowing from west to east.
You know, it's funny, I did the freshman game earlier, and when you watch freshmen kids kick the football, there's absolutely no zip on it. But you see the varsity guys do it. There's Barry McLaughlin, head coach of the Fighting Irish of Sacred Heart Cathedral. He played in another rivalry with both these schools. He went to Reardon, then to City College of San Francisco, part of a national champion there, and then on to Utah State, following in the steps of the great Merlin Olsen as an offensive lineman. So the Irish on 1st and 10 go with Jerry Mixon. And Franco on the stop for St. Ignatius. There you see Keen Dowling, the quarterback for Sacred Heart Cathedral, third-year starter. Big kid, Steve, 6'2", 210.
No, he's a great athlete. He can do it with his arm. He can do it with his legs. He's a pretty much a dual-threat quarterback here for Sacred Heart.
So the Irish keep it on the ground again, and Dowling on the keeper.
Little hesitant right there on that last play. Wasn't too sure. Maybe the defense was doing a good job disguising its coverage.
You know, if it wasn't a pandemic, those people on the sidelines would be bundled up for the cold. You know, it's like they're going to run the Iditarod.
Yeah, I'm expecting a group of Huskies to come out running on the field here.
Dowling looking to deal. And that is caught by Keshik. There's going to be Dara Kane.
Dara Kane.
There you see the starting offense for the Irish. Jerry Mixon and Tyrese Ivey, two of the stars. And Bruce Uparesa, somebody who plays a big role for the Irish, Steve.
Yes, absolutely. They got a great plethora of wide receivers here. They like to throw the ball a lot, but they're going to have to run the ball here tonight.
1st and 10 from the 30. I think part of the key for the Irish tonight is to run clock and to keep the ball away from, probably the best way to play defense is to run the clock.
Exactly. A good offense is a great defense. Good offense, you keep the other team's offense off the field.
5-yard penalty puts the ball at the 35.
So the penalty there against the Wildcats. Kevin Lehane is our referee tonight. See the umpire, Eduardo Nuno, moving the ball. So 1st and 5 for Dowling and company. Dowling's going to keep it, and he runs into trouble after about a 5-yard pickup.
Yep, does a good job.
Take a look at the starting lineup for St. Ignatius. We told you about Shockey Gallegos Hunkin in the middle, but Pete Quill and Daniel Lombardi help anchor a strong linebacking core, and Jashai Shannon, one of the best safeties you're going to find in prep football.
Yeah, no, they relied heavily on a great linebacker crew here at SI. They've had linebackers throughout the years.
And that kind of goes back, to the days Ray Calcagno was coaching the Wildcats. They've always been very linebacker-oriented defensively. And Mixon with nowhere to go.
They like to run that 30 front, that odd front, 3 down linemen, and they got 4 linebackers, those 3 down linemen, good-sized linemen, and they try to hold that offensive line there and allow the linebackers to flow and make the tackles.
Get a good look right there at Santino Franco on the St. Ignatius front. 2nd and 11 from the 39 for Sacred Heart Cathedral. Dowling goes short, gets it to Sanders, and Sanders gets flattened by Gallegos Hunkin.
Yeah, no, that was just a little flare pass. You see right there, Sanders comes out of the backfield. He tries to square his shoulders up, but right there is Hunkin laying him out.
3rd-year starter for John Regalia's Wildcats. There you see John, math teacher during the day, football coach by night.
Afternoon, night, weekends. When you're a football coach, you do it more than just
all
at night.
All day long.
That's right.
Dowling finds Ivy. Excuse me, that's Mixon. And Mixon hangs on. Irish close to a first down, but not enough.
That was a great little pass route right out of the backfield, a little Texas route, a little option route. They went by a 3-by-1, three to the right, 1 to the left, and that spread things out. The linebackers had to move out.
The Irish obviously see this as 4-down territory. It's 4th and 2 right here, just outside midfield. And they call the timeout.
Timeout was Sacred Heart.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting here, Steve, because you're playing into the wind. And your punt is probably not going to be super.
No, to say the least. With the wind blowing the way it is, right straight in the face of the kicker, 4th and 1.5, go ahead and take your chances here.
Because honestly, maybe you're looking at a 20-yard swing between a punt and giving the ball up on downs.
If that. Coach is telling them to keep your eye on the ball, hold your water, make sure you don't jump off sides if they go on a hard count.
So Keene and Ivory and Uparesa will go wide out to the right. Mixon will stay home in the backfield with Dowling. Mixon's been an effective runner so far.
He's a good sized boy there. He's only a sophomore.
Dowling with the little fade, and it's short of Uparesa, and the Irish give it up on downs.
Yeah, he's throwing a ball. He's throwing that long ball out to the flat there, and he just didn't get enough on it. And again, like he said, he's got the wind in his face, so he's got to be real careful when he throws that ball.
Just saw Barry McLaughlin, the head coach of the Fighting Irish. I always get a little nostalgic when I work one of Barry's games because I was the public address announcer when he played at Reardon 25 years ago. And just an absolutely fantastic guy.
No, he was another fantastic player. Oh,
Cheddar Tunney with the ball fake and then gets stopped by Jeffrey Hester up front.
Yeah, Tunney didn't have anybody to fake it to. He went right and the back went left.
Yeah, you see Hester. He's a big fella, too. Kind of with the Troy Polamalu look. So both teams taking their time on offense here in the first quarter.
Well, with this season being as shortened as it is, you're not going to go ahead and see maybe a lot of tempo right now because they don't have a lot of offense in.
Tunney slips past Hester and gains about 3 yards. John Murphy on the stop.
Make it 3rd and 6. It's still a manageable down here, so it's a 50-50 shot whether they're going to throw or run. They can do it either way.
Barry McLaughlin relaying some instructions in. Cheddar Tunney. There you see his vitals. Good size at 6'4". Throwing, coming up short. And great defense there by Aiden Shea for the Fighting Irish. There you see Aiden wearing number 12.
Yeah, both he and Bruce Uprisa put a lot of pressure right there on Tunney.
So here we'll get to see perhaps the speed of Tyrese Ivey come into play.
They're going to go ahead and put him real deep here because punter's going to have the wind to his back.
Pfeiffer, who's one of the quarterbacks for St. Ignatius, handles the punts. And Pfeiffer hoping to catch the jet stream. That'll roll in there for a touchback.
Yeah, it looked like it was a pooch punt, but he didn't put his whole foot into that thing, but the wind just carried it right into the end zone.
I'm looking forward to seeing Ivy get involved in the Sacred Heart Cathedral offense. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And,
it's going to be electrifying, exactly.
In talking with Barry McLaughlin the other day, he was talking about Tyrese Ivey and saying he might be, and we said this earlier, might be one of the best players around who hasn't been signed to a Division I letter of intent.
This year, with the way things have been with COVID-19, a lot of kids are going to go ahead and miss out on some scholarships when you have players in other states that got to play a full season. Texas, Florida, Georgia. And California is like behind the eight ball here. These guys get to play five games, and by the time anybody sees any film, the scholarships have already been given to other players.
And both coaches said not only did guys miss playing in the fall, they missed the summer camps at a lot of colleges. After Reagan's picked up 5, 2nd and 5 for the Irish. And Ivy hangs on. The question is, did he get the first down? And it looks like he did. The clock stops because he stumbled out of bounds.
They're going to go ahead and give him that first down. See right here. He goes up for it. Good hands. Concentration. He gets the good spot.
On Friday night and Saturday, it's a catch. On Sunday afternoon, no catch. And Dowling goes right back to Old Reliable, and Ivy fighting to stay in bounds. Ben Boyden, one of the Wildcats who pushed him out. So here are the keys to the game, Steve.
Yeah, no turnovers and forcing the fumbles, and you want to run to set up the pass, score, especially in the red zone. They haven't been there. The defensive got to eliminate the big plays. So we'll see what happens at halftime.
Yeah, it's funny, every time I've asked a coach for keys to the game, first thing they say, no turnovers.
You always want to win the turnover battle.
And they always work in time up, field position.
Ooh, great penetration by the defensive line, number 59, Jack Burnett. See, Burnett just comes in here and just buries number 22.
Keenan Cornican.
Yeah.
So 3rd and 9 here for the Irish, and you'll wonder if they'll go to number 9. You see Ivy toward the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, Ivy's into the boundary side, so it's an easier throw for Dowling.
And Dowling went Uparace's way, but the coverage there for Peter Quill of St. Ignatius, backup safety.
Brings up a 4th down.
And the Irish will be forced to punt. You see Uparace going to the sideline.
Yeah, they need to go ahead and establish something, a rhythm here, and start to move the chains, because right now they're behind the chains and they're losing the field position.
Dowling also is handling the punting tonight, so you got to watch for any sneakiness here if you're SI. Great kick into the wind. And that'll drop just inside the 50.
That took a Tiger Woods lie right there. It just dropped dead. It didn't roll or go anywhere.
There you see the St. Ignatius starters on offense. And Cheddar Tunney leading the Wildcats when they've got the ball. Shannon also out there.
Look to see the tight end, Oliver Stewart there, 87, get into the mix here pretty soon. They like to do a lot of things with their tight ends. The Wildcats do.
And it's such a luxury to have a strong tight end at the high school level. Not everybody gets one. And sometimes you got to adjust your schemes to the personnel you have available.
Well, you see they got two guys right here lined up in that up back position.
Flag on the field. Ball start against St. Ignatius. That'll back the ball up to the 43. First down and 15.
And there you see the starting defense for Sacred Heart Cathedral. We talked earlier about Jeffrey Hester up front at the nose and Uparesa, but who else is going to play a key role tonight, Steve?
I think the defensive backs, the safeties and the corners, because of the ability of the Wildcats to throw the ball.
You see Mixon, a two-way guy.
5-yard gain to the 48.
So a pickup of 5. Wildcats just outside of midfield. Still no score. And this is Jashai Shannon. And Shannon with some Energizer bunny life after initial contact. Has a Wildcat first down, and he's penetrated Irish territory down to the 27.
Does a great job. You'll see right here, he follows his blockers, he dips it to the outside, and then he comes right back to the inside. Ivy couldn't bring him down. He dips it back inside, then back outside. He picked up some great yardage right there.
Yeah, 21 yards right there. And it's 1st and 10 at the 27. And the Wildcats all of a sudden finding some life on the ground. Shockey, Gallegos, Hunkin.
They're going to something a little bit different than they normally do. They usually do 11 personnel. That's one back and one tight end. Now they got 20 personnel, 21 personnel, two backs, one tight end. So they're going to run a lot.
Shannon with Gallegos, Hunkin to lead for him. And Shannon gets inside the 10, grabs another first down, and the Wildcats go deeper into the red zone.
No, that's the same play they ran, and they picked up that 21 yards.
12-yard gain to the 8. First and goal.
And Gallegos Hunkin coming out, but really showing his utility.
Right here, look at him go ahead and just drive back the defender and open. So
and it's not just a block. He charged into him. I mean,
Gallegos Hunkin can do it on both sides of the ball. He's proven that tonight.
Shannon sweeping left, and Shannon's down to the 4, a pickup of 4.
Yeah, it's going to be a hold. You saw right there the blocker out in space had a grab at the jersey. It looked like the tackle grabbed the defensive end.
Well, Steve, I've heard a lot of football coaches say over the years, holding happens on every play. It's just when it's super obvious.
It does, and you can kind of hold, but as long as you're inside the framework of the body and you don't extend your arms. If you have a replay on that, you'll see that the tackle goes ahead and he's grabbing, and all of a sudden his hands, 52, watch his hands, see right there how he grabs him and turns the shoulders. Definitely holding.
It's almost like if his defender had a necktie, he was pulling on the necktie. 1st and 20. Tunney short of his target. Looking for Davis D'Souza.
Davis D'Souza, the intended receiver.
I kind of like this twilight football.
Yeah, this is nice.
This is great.
Brings up second down and
I mean, I like it when it's dark. I like when there's sunshine.
Yeah, but that wind coming off the ocean.
Oh, it's... I grew up with that wind. You know, I didn't think much about wind until I started cycling a couple years ago.
Oh. Bicycling, you know you're facing the wind when it's just holding you back.
And I wasn't built for wind resistance. Good look at Tunney there from the east end zone of Kezar. Tunney dealing. And it's bobbled by Shannon, incomplete.
Josiah Shannon, the intended receiver.
You know, that's one of those passes, Steve, when you look at quarterback rankings. This would not be held against the quarterback.
No, he's got it. It's right there. He just takes his eyes off because he wants to see somebody coming at him. Got to catch the ball first before you can run.
Liam Woodruff checks in as a wideout for St. Ignatius. Good look at the Irish sideline and another great view of Tunney from the shotgun, under pressure. And too far. Liam McGannon.
Tunney had a wide open receiver. He just overthrew it. And again, I think the wind had a little bit to do with that because you didn't see him put a whole lot into that, but the ball did carry quite far. Going to go ahead and go for a field goal here, of course. You got the wind to your back. You want to take advantage of that.
Ball spotted at the 27-yard line. So it's a 37-yard effort.
Grassi, the kicker. John Grassi, number 42.
He's got the distance. Does he have the angle? Yes, he does.
Well, Coach Regalia holds true to his word that he would definitely go kick a field goal if he had the wind in the right direction.
But you know what's interesting, Steve, is I think going the other way, field goal range would probably start maybe inside maybe the 20, the 18-yard line.
Yeah, you're looking at 15 from the 15-yard line right there because that'll be a 25-yard plus 7. So you're looking at a 32-yard kick. So it's got to be at least at the 15 if you're kicking into the wind at the west end of the field here.
It's like your flight to Hawaii takes longer than your flight home.
Well, that's because the Earth's moving a little different.
Yeah, and you get the jet stream and.
Oh yeah.
And I like when you fly to the islands and they do the halfway to Hawaii game and you can win the macadamia nuts. You guess the exact point you're halfway.
It's been so long since I've been.
Yeah, I like that.
I think the last time I've been to the islands was in '78.
I think Don Ho was about 23 at that time. And the original Hawaii 5-0 was still on.
Oh, yeah. Again, they're going to try and keep it away from number 9. Got to find out where he's at.
Yeah, Ivy is going to be to the top of your screen. And this is Robert Byrne on the return. And Kieran Cormican who on the return.
Swarming kick coverage. Good job by the Wildcats right there. You're going to see a host of white jerseys right here. And that's what you like to see as a special teams coordinator, as a defensive coordinator. All white hats to the ball.
And this is Reagan's. Derek Reagan's. And we were talking earlier, he's kind of the prototypical Barry McLaughlin running back.
Yeah, he's built low to the ground. He's got some good size. He's got some strong legs. Going to bowl right over you if you try and tackle him high. So you got to hit him low.
So a pickup of 3 on that last play. And it looks like the quarter is going to run out on us. And it does. So 1 quarter in the book. St. Ignatius with the field goal holds the lead right now. And I'm surprised we haven't seen more offense, Steve.
You know, it's that time of year, you know. You said it's April.
Well, it is April, but we'll be back with more of a fall sport when we return later this spring.
All right, now you're just like Danny, huh?
They'll probably never know about his thousands of hours of on-the-job training.
Here, go, Daddy.
Or that he spent as much time in the classroom as someone with a master's degree. You and I know he's one of the experts when it comes to electricity. Part of a team committed to doing the job right. They call him Dad. You call him the electrician right down the street. IBEW, the power professionals in your neighborhood. Our work is something to be proud of. We make the products people use, the products that make their lives simpler, the high-tech tools to help defend our country, and the innovations that will shape the future. Some say American industry can't keep up anymore. I say our work is proof that made in the USA still means something. The power professionals of the IBEW.
And the Fighting Irish of Sacred Heart Cathedral on a 2nd and 8. And they get called for a false start. Kevin Lahane is our referee today.
Back the ball up to the 23.
So the Irish will work from their own 23-yard line.
Well, you had a 2nd and very manageable, and now you kind of put yourself in a hole here, so you're going to have to really dig and try and get out of this.
Santino Franco, you see him to the right of your screen. He's already had a tackle tonight, and we've really seen the value of Shockey Gallegos Hunkin so far in the ballgame. Ben Boyden right behind him. And Kean Dowling and company for Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Flag on the field.
Another flag.
Delay a game.
That's one I never get. You know, your opponent gets called for a penalty, and then
it's 25 seconds after the officials. Right here, he's going to go ahead and hack the clock, so it's a 25-second clock. It's not 40 anymore. It's a 25-second. So they really got to get it going. And Dowling has to run over to the sidelines to get the play.
You know, a lot of teams will have a receiver. You know, they'll rotate receivers. And Dowling firing, finds a receiver, and stretches it out to Dara Keene. And Keene nearly reaches midfield.
Keene runs a nice little route, little slant route. You see Keene's going to go ahead and come in from the right side of your screen. He runs a slant while the inside guy runs out, but they can't tackle it. That's the problem. So he picks up some extra yardage right there. Great job by Dara Keene.
Yeah, Keene picking up 30 yards right there, and the Irish in business from their own 48. Kind of a sloppy handoff there, but Reagans goes behind Hester's block. Runs into Jack Burnett. I like Burnett's size for St. Ignatius up front.
No, we don't have any measurements on the players, but he's built like a prototypical lineman. He's been everywhere so far tonight on the defense.
So 2nd and 5 from the 46. And Dowling airing it out. Uparesa hangs on. And Uparesa and Ryan Strain tangling it up.
I don't think Uparesa was the intended receiver right there, but Uparesa just picked the ball out of the air. Happened to be right in the vicinity.
They're all line drives in the box score.
Looked like they were trying to run a little smash route. The outside receiver running a deep curl and the inside guy running an out.
So Sanders slides into the backfield. And Dowling is going to keep it.
He's tripped up by Seamus Hawkins.
Hawkins on the stop. There you see Seamus Hawkins. You know, the mascot at Sacred Heart Cathedral, his name is Seamus. How often do you have a guy playing for the rival school who has the same name as the mascot? Now, I know a lot of mascots, you know, they have, you know, weird made-up names. You know, Oski at Cal.
Yeah, no, it's...
Reagan's leading for Dowling.
Dowling on the keeper. Hit first by Santino Franco.
Nice little lead right there. Reagan's being the lead blocker for Dowling.
Reagan's, to me, on that play, reminds me of having a sixth lineman.
Exactly. That's exactly what an ISO does to the inside linebacker. They run right at that inside linebacker with the fullback, or in this case, that running back, and the quarterback becomes the tailback.
And Dowling sold that handoff fake to Reagan's perfectly and picks up the first down.
Great little zone read by Dowling right there. He sees the defensive end, the outside defender on the outside collapse on the running back. He pulls the ball out and he runs straight up the middle.
11th play of the drive right here.
11th play to number 11.
And, you know, we mentioned it at the start of the game. Probably the best defense tonight for the Irish, probably the best defense for both teams is get your offense out there, run the clock, wear down the opposing defensive legs.
No, exactly. That's what they're doing. They're able to go ahead and move the sticks, and they've had a lot of success in this drive with the wind at their back.
Irish have lost to Reardon, lost to Serra. Reagan's barrels his way toward the 10-yard line.
Great defensive swarming right there. You see the linebackers are able to go ahead, and Reagan's couldn't get outside. The defense is too fast. So if they're going to want to hit anything, they got to hit it inside up the middle.
Speaking of Reardon, the Irish are going to play Reardon again next week here at Kezar.
Yeah, we're going to do that game.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
I get to see the Irish tomorrow against Serra. Not the Irish. Reardon.
The Crusaders.
The Crusaders.
Well, Bishop Patrick Reardon was born in Ireland. And Ray-John Jackson on the sweep.
Probably not the play you want to run there on a third and short, 3rd and 1. You're running east and west, and you got that defense that does a great job. They've got good range from side to side.
Well, big play here for the Irish. You could try to kick the field goal. You'd have the wind behind you. It's 4th and a long one. Remember, the Irish misfired on a 4th and 2 out near midfield on their opening drive of the game.
Yeah, they're going to do just that. I think they're going to go ahead. They call timeout. They're going to go ahead and talk it over.
So Barry McLaughlin's club spends its second timeout of the half. So there you see the little dots. 3 timeout dots for St. Ignatius, 1 for Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Well, you don't want to waste your down here when you're down to 4th and half a yard. And Barry's telling them exactly that. Calm down, listen to what coach is telling you, the offensive coordinator.
And there you see the St. Ignatius defense.
John Regalia right there on the other side of number 59, Burnett.
Natani out there, and Timmons Timmons and Strain on the corners tonight for St. Ignatius. So the Irish are going to go for it here. You've got Jerry Mixon behind the quarterback, Dowling. Ivy to the bottom of your screen, and it's all Dowling, and Dowling has got the first down. The Irish roll the dice and come up with a jackpot.
I like that choice there because you had Dowling in the shotgun, and he's 5 yards, 6 yards deep. So that means he would have had to run 6 or 7 yards for the first down. You get him right up underneath the center. He takes a snap, and he's got a blocker in front of him.
So the Irish first and goal to go, just inside of the 10. Dowling going deep. And Ivy was out of bounds.
Yeah, you know, Ivy comes down over there in the over by the shot put ring on the cement. The ball's thrown. Ivy does a good job of going up, but they push him out of bounds, and he lands over there on that cement.
I don't think he was expecting to land on that.
No.
Oscar Milero, the Fighting Irish trainer, 20-plus years, one of the best in the business, is going to have a look at Ivy.
That's a player you don't want to lose right now when you're in the red zone.
And Dowling incomplete over the middle.
Almost picked off.
Dara Keene, the intended target. And
Keene couldn't get the handle on that. He was bobbling it, and it went right by Gallegos Hunkin, and he almost had an interception there.
And Ben Boyden also had a hand in that play. So third and goal just inside the 10. If you're thinking about a field goal right now, about a 27-yard try.
You got man coverage, one single safety high.
Fake to Reagans, Dowling, and just short of his target. Going to Keene again.
Good scramble job right there by the receivers. You see the pressure. Right there, Burnett cuts him off. Dowling does a good job. Just, again, that wind is playing havoc with the ball, the passes here. So Coach McLaughlin's going to opt to go for the 3 to tie it up.
Dowling will handle the place kicking tonight. Aiden Shea will hold it. And that is good, and we're tied at 3 apiece.
With 6:49 to go in the first half, the score, Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Smart job of taking the 3 for sure.
A 19-play drive for Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Well, that's what we're talking about. Taking time off the clock. You look at that drive, 19 plays. They probably 7-8 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they were in it. They got it in the first quarter. Let's see. No, probably about 7 minutes.
And some of the players today aren't old enough to remember this. They may not have been alive. But back when they had the bowl game at the Giants ballpark, back when it was SBC Park, about 2004, 2005, New Mexico lost to Navy in the San Francisco, whatever they called it. Navy had a 21-yard drive where they kicked a field goal to make it a 2-possession game.
Yeah.
And, there you see right there, Ivy over on the sideline about to get retaped. But
you got to go ahead and get your Ferrari tuned up before you put them back out there on the racetrack.
But, yes. But certainly, those drives can be backbreakers sometimes.
No, absolutely.
Set to kick off for Sacred Heart Cathedral.
I like how they took their time doing it as well. Kept kept St. Ignatius off the field offensively. Offsides on the kickoff.
Flag on the field. Penalty is
So that'll move it back 5 yards, but with the win tonight,
not going to make a whole lot of difference.
No, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference. Now, if you're going the other way,
it would be a backbreaker.
Yeah.
Irish will kick again from the 35.
Irish have not won a game since the 2018 CCS playoffs.
Wow.
And during that 2018 season, they beat St. Ignatius here in a close one. Game we had on the air was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was, let's see, Best was a running back for St. Ignatius, who's now playing at Cal Poly.
Yep, same result. Even better kick the second time.
He got his foot into that one. Great job.
All Aiden Brian Moore could do was watch it sail out of the end zone. Liam McGannon.
Right here you see the keys of the game for St. Ignatius. They got to take care of the ball. They got to win the turnover ratio. Again, everybody says that. Win field position in the battle. Offense to establish the run, and the defense has to be able to tackle in space, which they did not do in that last series.
Well, St. Ignatius' offense hasn't been on the field in a while, and you got to wonder if there's a little rust to wear off for Cheddar Tunney and company. Tunney gets forced out of bounds on a broken play. Jerry Mixon, a two-way guy.
That's a 2-yard gain to the 22. Second and 8.
That was a long run for 2 yards. In the backfield, trying to stretch, get outside the defense, but there was nowhere to go. Mixon does a great job of cutting him off.
Tunney with the handoff. And Shannon, the ball carrier.
Shannon had a little bit better luck when he had an outside blocker in front of him. That time he's running the ball on his own without a lead blocker.
Coming up on 5:20 to go here in the opening half.
This is a good time to use your tight end on a pop pass. Fake a dive, have him go right up the middle.
Sanders in there on a corner for Sacred Heart Cathedral. Pressure on Tunney. And broken up by Shea. McGannon's had a couple of tough luck situations tonight.
Yeah, no, that ball was underthrown, so he had to go ahead and stop and come back for it. And that gave Shea an opportunity to go ahead and stick his arm there and break it up.
But you talk about, I hate the expression moral victory, but whatever you want to substitute for moral victory, I think Sacred Heart Cathedral can celebrate one. You have a 19-play drive. You wear down the St. Ignatius offense. Then you basically put them in a potential 3-and-out situation. Irish have to get a man off the field.
They were lucky.
They were extremely lucky. He escaped by a whisker.
And that right there is the result of kicking into the wind, like we were talking about. That was about a 19-yard change of field possession right there.
Going the other way, I think you could kick a Nerf ball about 60 yards tonight. I'm still mad at my sister when she was teething, as a baby. She ate my Nerf football.
Oh.
Why is your sister's face purple? She ate my football.
She has a sponge.
Yeah.
Down her throat.
1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. And Reagans has nowhere to go.
Yeah, that was a low snap. Dowling was lucky to go ahead and get that handoff to Reagans.
And I think
you're going to see right here, that's down. He just gets it to Reagans in time. But the swarming defense, I like how those white hats are getting to the ball, led by number 11, you know who.
Playing an abbreviated senior season. Senior citizens, that's us. Keene gets about 2 yards out of that.
Tried a little slip screen. You had Ubrice out there blocking, but he got tripped up. Right here, you see there's the blocker. The ball was thrown. He got tripped up. Good defensive open tackle in the open field.
So 3rd and 8 for the Irish here. And nowhere close to field goal range, even with the wind. Dowling airing it out. And Ivy back in the game. For Timmons. That's Ivy.
Timmons does a good job of staying on top of the route that time. The defender was on top of the route, so even when the ball was overthrown, Ivy couldn't go up and get it. So if it was underthrown, it would have been to Ivy's advantage, but since it was overthrown, it was Timmons' advantage.
And again, they're going to go Ivy on the short side of the field. Aiden Shea will be the wide man at the top of your screen.
They're going to blitz.
Mixon stays home to block for Dowling. Dowling. Touchdown, Fighting Irish.
Brisa.
Bruce Uparesa on the 33-yard touchdown catch.
Nice little scramble drill by the receiver. He breaks into the open. He sees his quarterback running to the open. And he just does a drag to the sideline. What do we got here? Conference? We got a flag?
Well, it looks like the touchdown's going to count.
Yeah, it's going to be excessive celebration. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Which is assessed on the extra point, which when you're kicking...
No, it's going to be assessed on the kickoff.
Which with tonight's win probably means absolutely nothing.
$15 yards, though. That's 15. They're going to be kicking from their own 25.
Good shot there. You can see the lights taking effect. The old Park Emergency Hospital in the background of the shot.
Watch Dowling break. Ubrice is going to the post, but he sees the quarterback scramble, and he breaks back out to the corner right there for the touchdown. Great job.
So Bruce Uparesa hanging on for the score, and the third-year starter, Kean Dowling, actually started his high school career at St. Ignatius and transferred his freshman year. And then beat the Wildcats the following fall in 2018, led the Irish to the CCS playoffs that year, and gave him a lot of reasons to be excited on Ellis Street.
Good blocking. Dowling scrambles. He squares his shoulders up, and that's why the pass was completed, because he does a great job of squaring his shoulders up and getting that footwork. and getting his feet set so he could go ahead and throw and drive into that throw.
Shannon and Liam McGannon, each to receive.
There's the 15-yard assessment on the kickoff. So you're kicking from your 25-yard line. So that's going to be, what, 75 yards to the end zone? Let's see if that wind...
Oh, and the wind just got a little more intense.
There's Shannon.
All right, let's see what Dowling can do.
No, let's see. That's not Dowling. That's Dara Keene.
Yeah, Dara Queen was questionable as the kicker tonight. And, well, he'll take the roll down the fairway for the touchback.
There you go. 75 yards.
That's a media guide kick. That's a career high kick.
It is. All thanks to a stiff wind at your back.
So 1st and 10 for Cheddar Tunney and crew. Sold it to Shannon. And now Tunney taken down. Jeff Hester on the stop for the Irish, and 77 is very excited right now.
Hester, a two-way player. Nose tackle and left guard. So from nose tackle, it came right over the center. Does a great job staying with it. Right here, you see him come. Once he gets a hold of Cheddar.
Tunney lost 5 yards on that play. Remember the Wildcats, after the 19-play Irish drive, 3 and out, and then the Irish struck gold with the touchdown. Shannon, the ball carrier.
Tripped up for a short gain by number 11, Bruce Uparesa.
And Uparesa on the stop.
We got a timeout.
Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Sacred Heart wants to go ahead and see if they can get the ball back here after that great series. It's going to be 3rd and 15. If they can go ahead and get the ball back, they might be able to score going into before the second half. That would be really big because the ball is going to go to the Wildcats on the second half kickoff.
And anything you can do to make it a 2-possession game. With what you just mentioned, Steve, about, you're going to start the second half on defense.
Right. So if you can go ahead and do something here, get the ball back and maybe use the wind to your advantage like they have, you could either pick up 3 points or you can go ahead and score a touchdown. Coach Regalia's got to dig deep into the playbook here for 3rd and 15.
He's got big Oliver Stewart out there wearing number 87 at tight end.
Yeah, he's been covered by number 28 pretty well. Amir Diaz has been over the top of him the entire quarter here.
Wildcats keep it on the ground. They'll come up well short of the first down with Shannon on the run.
Well, that's a pretty smart thing to do. Even though you're not going to pick up the first down, what you're going to do is keep the clock running because they don't have any more, Sacred Heart has no more timeouts. So now you're going to take another 40 seconds off the clock before halftime.
4th down and 7.
John Murphy relaying the signals there on defense for the Irish.
Aiden Shea is deep to receive.
They're going to go ahead and take a penalty.
Why not?
Or they'll call timeout.
Timeout, St. Ignatius. First charge, timeout with 1:25 to go in the first half.
So 4th and 7 for the Wildcats. They'll punt with 1:25 left in the half. And under the circumstances, that's a great kick. Shannon, Shea hangs on to it.
Well, you got 1 minute and 17 seconds. You got to go ahead and get a couple of big chunks here. At least got to get it down to about the 30-yard line.
And what I like about Dowling tonight is he's really worked to different receivers. You don't always see that from high school quarterbacks.
No, he's gone to the open receiver. He hasn't forced things to his main receiver, so he's taken what's given to him. So he's being real smart.
Ivy, his reliable 6'2" target at the bottom of your screen as they go trips right. Up the middle with Reagan's. And Reagan's some second life right there, but this is going to hurt the Irish because they don't have a timeout, and they're nowhere near the sideline.
You got to have called 2 plays in the huddle. I mean, that's something you got to go ahead and do. We always had a 2-minute drill. We had 4 or 5 plays that were one right off the other, so the kids knew what to do.
And a fight to get out of bounds. Reagan stops the clock with 40 seconds left.
Yeah, but it's 3rd down. 3rd and 7. 3rd and 5, excuse me, 3rd and 5. Was lucky to get out of bounds on that. Stop the clock.
Now trips to the left for Dowling and company. He's got Mixon behind him. Sells the handoff to Jerry. And he is going to go nowhere in terms of stopping the clock.
He'd have been better off running out of bounds.
Natane on the stop.
That'll be a 4-yard gain.
The Irish need to hustle here.
From the 36. 4th and 1.
Well, you're going to go to the end zone on this right now.
Maybe this is by design. Uparesa is going to be the slot man on the left. Dowling looks Uparesa's way. Here comes pressure from Natane. Got to get rid of it. And it's picked off. Gallegos Hunkin with the interception as time runs out.
Very lucky that doesn't hurt you in that situation. Hunkin comes up with the turnover with no time left on the clock.
And I think Hunkin a little frustrated that there was no more time for St. Ignatius to do anything with it. But, Steve, a very competitive half, and I expected to see more from the St. Ignatius offense.
No, it was very impressive by the Sacred Heart offense and putting that long drive together and coming up with 3, then getting a short field and putting it in for another 7. Gives them a 7-point lead here at halftime.
Well, the Fighting Irish of Sacred Heart Cathedral lead it at halftime. Coming up, we're going to talk with the leaders from both schools, the principals and then the student body presidents, to talk about what's going on and how the schools have bounced back from the pandemic to renew this great rivalry. That's coming up next from Kezar Stadium. And welcome back to halftime here at Kezar Stadium. It's time to talk to the bosses at the two schools, the principals. Michelle Nevin Levine from St. Ignatius, Gary Cannon from Sacred Heart Cathedral. And Gary, I'm going to start with you. It's been challenging not just to have sports, but to have a school the last year. How exciting is it for you to actually see the student athletes out there doing something they love?
Oh, it's been heartening and exciting. It's great to see the joy in their faces. Before competition, when they're able to be back on campus with their friends and their coaches and their teachers in classes and participating. The outdoor sports have been great because we could start those earlier, and it's just it's heartening for me after this very difficult year to see the joy expressed in their play and their practice.
Well, Gary, that's a great way to describe it, the joy. And Michelle, for you, there's a couple of aspects of the joy and the chaos in making this happen. Not only are you in charge of a high school, but you are the parent of a student athlete. So what's that been like, balancing that part of the game?
Oh, that's you're absolutely right. I do have a sophomore student, and he happens to play football, so he's on our JV football team. He won't be participating in tonight's game, but it's been incredible to watch him, as well as our other student athletes, finally able to play the game. COVID's been really tough on everyone. A lot of sacrifices have been made, and our student athletes have had to kind of sit back and wait. Like Gary said, we've been able to do some outdoor stuff and conditioning with our students for a long time, which has been nice, but finally to have them back with their coaches and their teammates. I agree with everything that Gary said about experiencing the joy, seeing the joy in their faces and the camaraderie again. We've really missed it. So it's been tremendous.
That's great. You know, yesterday on Wednesday, this is a pre-recorded interview, but I spent some time with my partner, Steve Nicolopoulos. We talked with Barry McLaughlin. We talked with John Regala. And Gary, both of them said that what's going on right now with the COVID and what's going on with the schools adjusting kind of reflects the history, the tradition, and the mission of both schools, which is serving others. And how has the Sacred Heart Cathedral community stepped up in this great tradition of Bill Bruce and Jerry Mahoney?
Well, I think I thought the same thing in preparation for this interview. Actually, the great rivalry and the tradition named after these two gentlemen emphasizes service and also sacrifice. You know, it's been a great sacrifice for our students, for our families, for our faculty and staff, for everyone in terms of what we can do for the common good too, right? What's something bigger than ourselves? How can I be my brother or sister's keeper? And in this time during this pandemic, it requires sacrifice to maintain the health and safety of our neighbor, literally our neighbors and those that we live with and around, especially the most vulnerable. The virus has a more dramatic impact on the elderly or those with underlying conditions. And so it was a great teaching opportunity. It's a hard one. Many of the most valuable lessons we learn in life are hard. But it's something that maybe we don't put on a application to college, but in caring for one another and literally being able to save lives by our very own behavior, it requires some sacrifice. And it's a deeply part of our Catholic charism too, quite frankly, in terms of trying to teach the children entrusted to our care.
Now, Michelle, this is a great tradition, and the tradition involves the boys' sports at both schools. I know there's been talk about expanding maybe a parallel trophy for the women's sports. Where are the two schools? Where are the two student bodies in that process?
Oh, thanks for asking. Actually, Gary and I have been in conversations. This is my second year as principal. So we started the conversation just before COVID. We've both had girls, we've been co-ed institutions for over 30 years. So it's way past time to include our young ladies in some kind of competition against SHC. And we really have not determined, and we're not going to let out any secrets right now about what we're talking about, whether or not we're going to include them in the Bruce Mahoney Trophy or they'll have a parallel trophy of their own. But that's going to happen. It's going to happen very soon.
That is some of the best news I've heard in a while. Gary?
I say, George, you'll have to go back to your interview before the Bruce Mahoney basketball game when we were at Cal. I gave an answer then, too, which is not tipping any hands, but I'm grateful to be working with Michelle. She and I are having good conversations. We both want to move forward on this initiative.
Gary, I can't remember what I wore yesterday. Let's take
Well, clearly my time with you is far more memorable than your time with me, and I completely understand that.
What I remember most about that night was not only calling two great games, but a slice of pizza, what used to be Blondie's on Telegraph Avenue after the game. That's what I remember, and don't tell my dietitian that. But let's stay in the realm of the trophy and the tradition. Back when this started in 1947, the two schools played each other once a year in football, basketball, and baseball. Now they still play once in football, and once things get back to normal, they'll play twice in baseball and basketball. Have you ever thought about making it a best of five? I think it would add a lot of excitement to that second basketball and second baseball game.
Don't tip your hand, Gary.
No, I was just going to say, George, it's amazing to me that anyone has an opinion about the Bruce Mahoney Trophy and game. It's shocking to me.
Can't believe it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We have talked and thought about all kinds of things over the many years that I've been involved in this great tradition, this great rivalry. Sometimes people talked about, well, why not? It used to be called the Sears Cup, right, for the college sports. Why not have it be every single sport? And then there was a concern, well, doesn't that water it down? It's hard to get that many people up. We've talked about increasing that sort of thing. I think it's more important for me to speak for is the issue about making it this great tradition, this great history, be fully inclusive of our student communities.
Well, that's great. And I think something that could really benefit from it is it would add a lot of excitement in basketball, for example, Michelle, that second go round, maybe in late January, early February, when you're looking at, seeding, you're looking at rankings, you're looking at a league championship. And to me, it would be like the second Duke, North Carolina game of the year in the ACC.
So again, what I love about this conversation and what you're illustrating here is what Gary and I already know, which is there are so many people who are really invested in this competition and this rivalry. And we love that. I can't imagine what it would be like without it. In fact, it's going to be difficult for this game that we're not able to celebrate this competition with not just our entire student bodies, which we've been able to do for many, many years, but also with the city, because it's a big city event, and we love it. We love that people care about it. And what I love about working with Gary is we both have the same focus, which is really thinking about what our current community needs, and looking towards our current students and seeing what it is that might work best for them. And it's with love for our alums and all the people in the city who enjoy the rivalry, but also just bearing in mind that we have a current student community in 2021 to think about. And so we're still going to talk about it and think about how that might work best.
Well, I think the best part of this rivalry is it's very hard to go anywhere in San Francisco and not find the DNA of these two schools. And I think that's the most beautiful part of it.
Thank you.
Gary, Michelle, thanks for joining us here at halftime. We've got the student body presidents coming up next. We're going to talk about what's going on with the students. They've been juggling Zoom and everything else. We'll have that coming up here on the Bay Area Online Sports Network.
Thanks, George.
And welcome back to halftime at Kezar Stadium. We're joined by the student leaders from the two schools, Lucia Doty from St. Ignatius, Donna Lennis Granada from Sacred Heart Cathedral. And Lucia, let's start with you. Part of the Jesuit tradition of St. Ignatius and so many other schools is developing men and women for others. What have you seen your classmates in your school community do for the larger world during the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, there are so many things that SI has done for the micro level just within our school community, but then also in the macro level within our SF community. I would say there's freshman and sophomore retreats that are still happening, even on Zoom or in person now. And also the comfort run is still taking place, which is where we bring sandwiches to the Tenderloin. And I would just say that our student council has been doing an amazing job just with community outreach as well. And then also keeping kids involved. We did a drive-in movie, and we've also done like intramurals at sports and just intramurals at lunch, and just trying to get kids excited to come back to school, but also be educated and understand what is COVID-19 and the impacts of it.
Donna, at Sacred Heart Cathedral, a very similar LaSallian and Vincentian tradition. Big sign over the doors when you walk in the LaSalle campus: enter to learn, leave to serve. You mentioned people have been making masks and reaching out to others. Tell us about that at Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Well, our LaSalle and Vincentian youth community has done what they can to continue helping the Tenderloin community and people in San Francisco. And so people have done everything they can, from making cards for people who are lonely and calling people who just need a friend, and also making masks and donating to hospitals, donating their masks to hospitals. And also we've tried to help our own school community by hosting game nights, so we can all continue that level of community and just being connected with one another. And also we have made efforts to have food drives and have collect books and toys for children in need over the winter break. And also we had we collected a bunch of hygiene products for people in need, and we've done a lot of things to continue helping our community.
I love the game nights. What are some of the games you've played?
Some of the games we played include, over Black History Month, we had a scavenger hunt for items that were created by African American people. And then for Women's History Month, we had some games, like one was based on female athletes and just important female figures in history. And we have games based on sports, Kahoots, based on like everything you can think of, almost every Thursday.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Well, Lucia, I'm going to turn this to the Bruce Mahoney rivalry. And both of you represent not just the students of both schools, but the women of both schools. Is there any progress on coming up with some type of a Bruce Mahoney competition for the women's sports at the two schools?
This is a great question. And sadly, I'm not an athlete, but a lot of my friends are. And on student council as well, we have a lot of people advocating for it. I really believe that if COVID-19 had not hit this year, that this would have been the year. I know last year there were a ton of girls that were pushing for a women's Bruce Mahoney. I think at this year things got a little bit more confusing with timeline and WCAL, but I'm really hoping that next year we have a lot of strong girls that are juniors that are really going to push for it this year, and a lot of alumni that I think will back it up as well.
And you're looking live again at Kezar Stadium in San Francisco, where Sacred Heart Cathedral has the lead at halftime, but St. Ignatius will have the ball, Steve. And a comeback opportunity for the Wildcats, who probably came in tonight as the favorite.
Well, they're going to be going into the win because, of course, Sacred Heart's going to kick with the win to go ahead and start the second half here. So, it's hard to say. They haven't been able to do much. Tunney's had a little bit of a tough time connecting with his receivers. They had a good series where they ran the ball a couple times out wide with the lead blocker, where Hunkin was out lead blocking. So I don't know. We got to see what adjustments they go ahead and make. You take a look at the keys to the game. They have not been able to establish the run. Their defense has been tackling in space, okay. The field position battle, they're definitely losing that. And the turnover ratio, they just were able to go ahead and take care that last interception and then taking care of the ball. They haven't controlled it right there.
Yeah, I know. Big keys. And the keys for Sacred Heart, Steve?
Sacred Heart, they had the no turnovers, but they've been able to definitely run to set up the pass. They scored in the red zone. Scored in the red zone, and their defense has not given up any big plays whatsoever, George.
But, there's a small margin between not giving up a big play and then giving up a massive one.
As long as you keep the other team out of the end zone, that's all that matters.
Now, I know we're calling this Bruce Mahoney football tonight, but the two schools have agreed to share the trophy for this year because the big reason is they're unable to play basketball right now.
Right.
So it wouldn't be the true trilogy.
No, they play football, basketball, and baseball to find out who the winner.
So it's shared custody.
Oh, that's a good thing.
And on the return for St. Ignatius, this is McGannon. And McGannon, I think, has had some frustration tonight as a receiver, but right there.
He was able to redeem himself. That was a great return. Good field position right here at the 40-yard line.
And remember, the Irish kicked with the wind.
Yeah, no, I know that. That's very surprising that they were able to go ahead and get a return off of that. Got a new quarterback. Tunney is out. You see him right there on the sidelines.
And there you see Aiden Smith taking over a quarterback. I think there are a combined 5 Aidens dressed for tonight's game.
Gee.
Shannon on the sweep, and the Wildcats go into Irish territory.
Great job. Take a look at this right here. He changes direction. He finds the bubble to the outside. Now watch him, Walter Payton right there. Little show pony.
15-yard gain for Shannon. And Smith goes right back to Shannon, and he picks up 3 more. Uparesa on the stop for the Fighting Irish. Uparesa, one of a couple of two-way guys, along with Hester and Mixon.
Hester, Mixon, Uparesa, Ivy. A lot of two-way players on that Fighting Irish team.
Both these teams, their roster's a little smaller than they would be in a traditional season because a lot of the baseball and lacrosse dual sport athletes elected to play those sports.
Yeah, you've also got rugby in the mix, too. Guys are playing rugby now. This is rugby season. Even though it's not a high school sport, they're playing club rugby. So, you're losing some players. You're gaining others. So the teams are not as big as they have been previously.
Well, on 3rd and 3, the Wildcats keep going with Shannon. And I think the whistle blew before the ball came out.
They were going to definitely go ahead and give him forward progress and call it a dead ball.
But Reagans and Mixon playing big roles stopping him. But all of a sudden we're seeing life in this Wildcat offense that wasn't there in the second quarter.
I was just going to go ahead and say something to that point that the Wildcats have come out here with a vengeance here in the second half.
Flag down on the run by Aiden Smith.
No, that was a new quarterback, number 15. That was Charlie Pryor. I can't read it. It's a little dark up here. Number 15.
Pfeiffer.
Sorry about that, Charlie.
Kevin Lahane is our referee tonight.
Right here, you're going to go ahead and see the hold.
Back the ball up to the 41.
Right there.
And the guy they held on was Hester, who's the nose tackle for Sacred Heart Cathedral.
And not only is it a 10-yard penalty, but it's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. So it was behind the line of scrimmage, so it got moved back even further. So it's like 1st and 25 almost.
Yeah, they've got to cross the 20-yard line, and they're out at the 41.
23 yards, yep.
This is Smith back in there. And Smith's pocket collapses. Uparesa, Mixon, and there you see Hester.
Great job by the defensive front 7 right there. You see right here, he just drops back. It's a straight drop back. They force him up into the pocket, and it collapses, and the defensive linemen and the linebackers are right there to Johnny on the spot.
Love the helmets for Sacred Heart Cathedral. I'm thinking of the bear in Alabama.
No, all McLaughlin has to do is get a houndstooth hat.
I think we could find one of those on eBay for him.
A green houndstooth hat.
Nobody said Alabama better than the late Keith Jackson.
Yep.
Smith under pressure. And it's complete for St. Ignatius. Cooper on the reception.
Now it's going to be rolls to his right, sets his feet, throws a nice little dart.
3rd and 13. Ball is on the 31.
Well, on most pickups like that, you say, okay, we got a first down. No, St. Ignatius still has 13 yards to go.
Yeah, no, they put themselves in a real big hole there.
Smith from the shotgun. Here comes pressure. Little jump pass.
Touchdown.
And it's a touchdown for St. Ignatius. Great job by Davis D'Souza to hang on.
Davis D'Souza does an amazing job of adjusting, catching the ball, falling backwards on a shorter pass, and he falls into the end zone. Well, the Wildcats come out and they strike with the equalizer here, George.
And a chance to tie it with the extra point.
John Grassi on to attempt the extra point. Ryan Ivers, the hold.
Grassi to try the extra point. And it's good, and we're tied.
Well, whatever adjustments Coach Regalia came up with at halftime, it was a great job, and these guys just came out on fire. You see Smith here stepping up in the pocket. He throws, and watch the adjustment. Maybe just a little bit of a push off, but nothing to write home about. A great adjustment, though. Right there. Second look at it, little hand fighting, and he falls right into the end zone. And it was a good job by the officials. And I don't say that very often, George, but it was a great job by the officials on that call, not calling it short of the goal line. Right here, Coach McLaughlin, he's saying, guys, it's our turn to strike back. We're not going to let them go ahead, and there's Barry.
9 plays, 60 yards on the Wildcat scoring drive to start the second half. And I really see this team just running on the field for this kickoff with more energy than it had in the second quarter.
Absolutely. They looked defeated in the second quarter. You got number 3 and number 21.
And Sanders, who got beat on the touchdown, is one of the deep men.
Well, they're talking about something, maybe thinking a short kick, look for something coming up.
Remember, they're kicking into a stiff wind. Cornican plays the ground ball. He's got to cover it. And Cornican gets out a little past the 20, but not exactly a resume return right there.
No, definitely not a resume return. But he did a good job of covering the ball. The ball's bouncing around. That's a live ball. Anybody can go ahead and recover it. So he did a good job. And he was slipping, falling down. You know, this is a natural turf. And with the fog and the cold and the wind, it gets a little bit slippery out there.
There's a little moisture out there tonight.
There's a lot of moisture out there.
It's a different kind of humidity than Philadelphia in August. Dowling on the first play of the second half. Gets picked off. Picked off by Shannon, and the second interception tonight for Dowling.
That's 2 turnovers. Dowling's thrown 2 interceptions. The last 2 passes he's thrown, George, have been interceptions.
Now 10 of 18 for 109 yards. He's got the touchdown, but he's got the 2 picks, and the first pick really wasn't of any consequence.
He steps into it and throws it. It just comes up short. The defender was blocking out Ivy, couldn't come back for the ball.
So there you see Shannon on the sideline.
Normally in a running back, but he's going to go ahead and sit this out a little bit.
And Dowling in a sideline conversation. But chance here for the Wildcats, you know, after a 9-play drive, a chance to, you know, do what the Irish did to them in the first half. Gallegos Hunkin on the run.
Looks like he's down.
This is the guy you need in the lineup if you're John Regalia. Looks like a cramp.
Yeah.
I think that's been one of the things that has been difficult about this school year for a lot of student athletes is the whole conditioning aspect.
Conditioning and the training, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and that plays a big role when you cramp up. We're tied at 10. We're back after this.
Go to Gray's. Gray's knows green. Family owned, Gray's Paints is the Bay Area's leading provider of Benjamin Moore paint, stains, and finishes. Gray's Paint will provide you unparalleled paint expertise, environmentally friendly products, and premium customer service to help you successfully navigate your project. Gray's Paint and Benjamin Moore, available at 4 Bay Area locations: Burlingame, San Mateo, Redwood City, and Menlo Park. Go to Gray's. Gray's knows green.
And there you see Gallegos Hunkin going to the sideline with assistance from the St. Ignatius trainer.
He's cramping up big time. He can't even barely even walk. You can see right there he's starting to cramp up. You know, it's cold out here. They may not have warmed up. And like you said, conditioning has played a significant role here in time of COVID. You know, you can only work out with your teammates in cohorts, pods, whatever you want to call them. You know, so they haven't been able to go ahead and do what they normally do.
And the hydration is another issue because I think everybody has to have their own water bottle.
Right. Absolutely. You saw that in March Madness. Every player sitting on the court had like 5 bottles of Gatorade or whatever, Powerade or whatever it was.
Yeah, Powerade. They sponsored the tournament. I wish we had those blankets. I wish they could share that blanket with you and me.
I could definitely use a blanket up here.
Smith, or a bonfire.
Our little outdoor perch.
So Alapati on the stop right there. There you get a good look at Israel. 3rd and 8 for the Wildcats, but this is where they struck gold last time, was on a 3rd and long, with the touchdown that led to the tie.
Alapati came out and Solofatu. I can't pronounce the name here. Solo Fafatu in
Smith.
chasing him.
under pressure. Gets away from Uparesa, and he connects deep with Woodruff. And Woodruff is deep inside the red zone.
He's got a first down and more for St. Ignatius.
Ivy's a little bit disgusted with the defense there, and I'm right there with him. Where was the safety help over the top? There was no safety help over the top. Everybody came up because the quarterback was scrambling. And Ivy's saying, gosh, we needed, there you see being chased down. Great job of throwing the ball. He just got over the top of everybody. Came from one side of the field all the way across.
And a great job by Smith just kind of peering down the sideline.
Well, he does a good job of keeping his eyes downfield looking for an open receiver.
Shannon back in there, just shy of Shannon. Uparesa on the stop. Is that a tie-dye shirt that Mixon is wearing beneath his uniform? I mean, we are in the hate. Sort of.
No, it's not a Jerry Garcia knockoff, no.
Well, I always think of the shirts that the Lithuanian basketball team sold as a fundraiser that were designed by Jerry Garcia and the Grateful Dead. The great Sharunas Marshalonis.
Sharunas Marshalonis, that's right. Smith still in a quarterback. He's done some great things, making some good decisions, but we're going to get a timeout. Timeout by SI.
Yeah, Smith has really handled this third quarter well. And you talk about his impact in the ball game. And, you know, St. Ignatius getting in the end zone for the first time and right now knocking on the door. And we'll be back after this.
I've been coming to Mobius for over a year and it's changed my life. Ever since I started coming here, I've gotten in more shape. I've met great people.
If you're just new and you want to start out, you don't have to find your own way to do it. You get people that are showing you exactly what you need to do, so it gives you a perfect program.
The classes are great. There's high energy. We like to have a great time. They play great music, and we get a workout in super quick, and we can get on with our day.
Well, Aiden Smith's impact for St. Ignatius, he's 3 of 3, 85 yards and a touchdown passing.
Well, those are some great stats. And he's also been doing a good job of getting the ball handed off on the ground.
They send Stewart the tight end in motion. Pressure from Hester and a jump ball. And a great job there by Aiden Shea of knocking it down.
Shea just dove at it and tipped it out of the air. Ball was delivered with a lot of velocity there.
3rd and goal from the 9 coming up right here.
It's a big down because I don't know if they're going to kick a field goal here, George.
Well, right now you're counting off. You're adding 17 to 9. That's 26, but it's 26 into
a stiff wind
into the jet stream.
Yeah.
Barry McLaughlin. Now in his 5th year at head coach at Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Barry's doing a great job turning this
great
program
guy.
around. Yeah. Good man for the job.
So Smith faked it to Shannon. Pressure from Hester. And nearly picked off and then grabbed out of the air. And the Wildcats, wow, great play by Josiah Shannon. Off the deflection.
Shannon, great concentration on that. That ball should have been picked out of the air. I don't know who the defender was over there. It wasn't Ivy. It looks like Ubrisa. Actually, yeah. No, I'm sorry. Number 27. Amir Diaz.
Yeah, Diaz. So now the Wildcats will try the field goal, 23-yard attempt, and St. Ignatius retakes the lead.
Good job by Grassi.
So the Sacred Heart Cathedral offense has been on the field for exactly one play in the first 6:32 of this third quarter.
Yeah, that's not what you want. You don't want your defense out there the entire first part of the second half.
I mean, I think you can say on this last series they held serve, only giving up the 3.
They did. A little bit of that was a couple of mistakes by St. Ignatius and putting themselves in a deep hole.
And you get a tipped ball that, just kind of
fell your way.
Yeah, I wonder what John Regalia said to his guys. And, they couldn't go to the locker rooms. The locker rooms are virtual. They're outdoors.
Well, I could probably tell you what he said at halftime, but I don't think we want to go ahead and say it over the air. Probably a big fire and brimstone speech. Great halftime speech because he lit a fire under these guys.
Cornican to the right of your screen. Back there was Sanders. Awaiting Lucy's kickoff. And a chopper. And this is Mixon, one of the up men. And Mixon, a good return there on kind of a sloppy bounce.
Mixon does a great job of fielding that fielder's choice line drive on the ground there. And because he's a running back, he knows how to go ahead and carry the ball and pick his way through the defenders.
Probably a guy, you get in an onside kick situation, he's on your hands team.
Absolutely.
So Dowling, his last 2 passes, interceptions. And this time the Wildcats meet Reagans in the backfield. But Netane on the stop. Irish lose 2 right there.
Netane, good stop. The whole defensive front 7. 4 linebackers and 3 down linemen. They were in the backfield.
And that one just slipped out of Dowling's hand.
Dowling's having a little bit of trouble here.
From the 40, it'll be 3rd down and 12 for the Irish.
Cornican saying, giving the play to Dowling right there. And you got to think maybe Dowling just didn't get a clean grip on it.
Yeah, the ball probably got a little slick with the way the weather is here.
So 3rd and 12 from the 40. You saw Dowling there kind of shaking his hand.
He probably hit it on a helmet. And with the weather the way it is, how cold it is, that's got to hurt.
It's got to hurt. So Dowling slips away from one tackle and then goes aerial.
Yeah, no, he dove for it, but he's going to come up way short. Dowling evades the rush, gets to the outside.
I think you got to be impressed with Netane there on the defense. We've seen him against the run tonight. We've also seen him right there as a pass defender.
No, he's been all over the field on defense.
Liam McGannon, the deep man for St. Ignatius, awaiting the kick from Dowling.
He had a great return on the kickoff, so let's see if he can go ahead and do something here.
Remember, Dowling's got the wind behind him. And a great roll for the Irish. It's going to roll down to the 13-yard line.
Kick is down to the 13-yard line. 42-yard punt, no return.
That's not a bad punt for a quarterback that's kicking the ball.
So John Regalia's squad a chance to extend this 3-point lead. Great story about John back in 2011 when St. Ignatius won the CCS title beating Sacred Heart Cathedral at AT&T Park. They had 2 rematch games that year. They won them both. They beat Valley Christian. They beat the Fighting Irish. The next year, they had 2 more rematch games. They won them both, including the section final over Bellarmine in the Open Division.
Wow.
And he had, I think he had like a 5-0 record in rematch games at one point in his career. I mean, it was just absolutely astounding. So
looks like Shannon is going to go ahead and come out. It looks like he might have been cramping up just a little bit.
Well, Shannon was a little wobbly earlier.
2nd and 6.
And of course, they go ahead and hold the play until the player can go ahead and get off the field.
It's a long walk from this end to your bench. And Smith sold the handoff well to Keith Reyes.
Nice little zone read. Quarterback keeps it.
Kind of a broken play right there.
Timeout for the Sacred Heart.
Yeah, and the Irish looked a little disorganized on that play.
Yes, they did, and I like what the Wildcats were going to go ahead and do there. Take the quarterback, put him up under center, and try and go ahead and wedge it.
Well, more Fightin Irish and the Wildcats after this.
I would rather look good than to feel good, and you know who you are.
That's right, Fernando. Looking good is important, and looking good starts with a great haircut from Sheer Design in Laurelwood Shopping Center in San Mateo. No matter your age or style, the trained barbers at Sheer Design will get you looking good. Sheer Design in Laurelwood Shopping Center in San Mateo. Ask for Joaquin and tell him you saw this ad on BAOSN.TV.
And we thank all our sponsors for bringing you tonight's game. We also thank all of you. And, I know that we probably have a lot more viewers than we would have in a normal year, but everybody at both schools and everybody on our broadcast team is very appreciative of you joining us. And I miss seeing a lot of the familiar faces in the stands at this game tonight.
This is great. This is a great opportunity. Things are starting to come back. Everybody's starting to go ahead and be able to get outdoors, be with people because of the vaccinations.
And this is Reyes. It was a decoy earlier. This time the ball carrier. And the clock will stop so they can look at where the ball is on a 3rd and short.
They're not moving the chains yet. There they go.
Now they're moving it. So he got the 3 he needed. Well, if travel is any measure of things getting back to normal, I was traveling a couple weeks ago to work some college basketball, and all my flights were full.
Wow.
And the previous week, I'd been in Las Vegas, same thing. And Smith, a little wobbly for Stewart.
And that's the first time they've thrown the ball to the tight end, which is really surprising because normally St. Ignatius has a really good crop of tight ends, and they're very elusive. They get a lot of catches, and they do a great job running the ball after the catch.
One of the things that's always impressed me with St. Ignatius football is they've always had a lot of depth at linebacker.
Oh, yeah.
And I think being a strong lacrosse school helps that. A lot of the lacrosse skills come in handy at safety or linebacker.
Well, they have that ability to go ahead and run and the speed to go ahead and run plays down.
D'Souza, the man in motion. Fake underneath to Reyes. And nearly picked off by Sanders. And I think Sanders was thinking about the end zone.
Yeah, Sanders saw 6 points right there. The defensive coordinator's like, oh, gosh, we had it. That would have been a great job. Smith just tries to shot put it right here. Again, going to the tight end. That's the second time he's targeted the tight end.
And we just saw some great weak side pressure from Nicholas Dreyer.
Defensive end.
So 3rd and 10, 25-yard line. Smith, under pressure, gets rid of it. And it's a foot race. And nothing there for D'Souza.
D'Souza tried to make that same adjustment he did on that touchdown, but the ball was just thrown too far outside over his outside shoulder.
Well, big stop here for the Fighting Irish defense. And now they're going to try to see if they can get a reboot from their offense.
They had to go ahead and get a stop here. And if you're the Wildcats, you're not going to go ahead and try any trickery right here. You just want to go ahead and get the ball away.
There you see Shea counting heads.
Back to punt for the Wildcats, Charlie Pfeiffer.
Pfeiffer to punt it. Almost blocked. Irish going to scatter mode. Well, what do they say, Steve? The wind at Kezar comes around 10 p.m.?
Yeah, and I'm waiting for it.
Yeah.
Waiting for it to calm down, that's for sure. This is definitely San Francisco weather. You look across the field, George, and you look into the lights, and you can see the moisture in the air. Those of you watching at home, consider yourselves lucky.
So Ivy just went in motion for the Irish. They bunched 3 on the right. Here is Mixon with a blast of energy.
Good pick up about 6 or 7 yards right there.
Shannon on the stop, clock running. Irish stretch it out to their own 44-yard line. They'll face a 2nd and 3. There you see Shannon, who's been active on both sides of the ball tonight.
Yeah, he's done a great job. He's had a great game tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if they threw the ball here deep for the simple reason you've got the wind to your back, but Dowling has had a few problems with the ball in the past.
And they stay with Mixon, and his forward progress should have gotten him the first down.
Yep.
Natane on the stop, and the officials say stop the clock.
Again, you got 1:12 left here. You might want to go ahead and take advantage of that breeze behind you.
There you see Natane.
Natane's been everywhere tonight on the field.
Barry McLaughlin kind of social distancing right now from the rest of his sideline. And here is Reagan's.
Derek Reagan's the ball carrier. Tackled by Santino Franco.
So he rips off 6 yards. And we're starting to see the same kind of spunk from the Fightin Irish we saw in the first half.
Yeah, the difference between the first quarter and the second quarter definitely starting to show up here for the Fighting Irish.
Time about to run out in the third quarter for Dowling and crew.
They're just going to go ahead and let the clock run out.
And that'll do it. 3 quarters in the books. It's one of the oldest high school rivalries in the country. And one of San Francisco's greatest traditions, Sacred Heart Cathedral and St. Ignatius. The fourth quarter is coming up on the Bay Area Online Sports Network.
Sacred Heart Cathedral has a proud tradition of excellence in athletics spanning more than a century. Throughout its history, the Fightin Irish have garnered 58 league crowns, 52 sectional titles, and 31 NorCal and state championships across all sports over the years. The school has also produced a number of athletes who have played professionally and have represented the United States internationally. Among them Major League Hall of Famers, Super Bowl champions, and Olympians. SHC offers 23 sports sponsoring 57 teams with more than 800 athletes competing every year in the West Catholic Athletic League. With a premier strength and conditioning program, Sacred Heart Cathedral prepares athletes for the next level. And each year, dozens of our graduates compete for their colleges and universities. More important than any championship.
Well, the Irish switch sides of the 50. And Upareza on the catch. By the way, we just saw a video promoting Sacred Heart Cathedral Prep. And kind of a sad moment in it. Justin Love, great basketball player who graduated from Sacred Heart Cathedral in the 90s, died suddenly last summer. He had a great collegiate basketball career for the St. Louis Billikens. He was coaching high school basketball in the St. Louis area. Just a tremendous guy, beautiful family. His older brother Jay, also a Sacred Heart Cathedral grad, and we all miss him. Good guy, and I'm glad that he's involved. He's featured in that video along with Olympian Shannon Roberry. Two great success stories at Sacred Heart Cathedral. So many great success stories from both these schools.
No, they've got a rich tradition and history, and that's what this game is all about here. Rich tradition and history. Right here, great job. Ball just bounces out of Uberesa's hands. No, Keene. Dara Keene.
Dowling is going to punt. McGannon is the deep man for St. Ignatius. There you see Liam. Liam kind of reminds me of a guy who returned punts for Cal in the Jeff Tedford days, Vinny Strang.
Huh.
And I think Vinny was all of about 5'7" and 140 pounds, but he was one of the toughest Golden Bears ever.
Yeah, Tedford had some great years over at Cal. Had some great years in Fresno State as well.
Good coach.
Very good coach.
Well, Dowling, you see his play script. He wears it on his elbow.
See tomorrow that we're going to go ahead and we're going to be at Reardon, the freshman game at 10, varsity game at 1:30 as the Crusaders take on Sarah.
Sarah, the halfway point in the WCAL. And Smith overthrowing the target. Looking for Ryan Ivers.
Ivers dipped his route a little bit inside, and he should have stayed out by the boundary. He might have been able to run underneath that ball.
2nd and 10 for the Wildcats from their own 30. Wildcats with 10 unanswered points in the third quarter. And Aiden Smith driving the action. Great fake to Shannon. Under pressure from Reagans, he gets out of bounds. You know, for those of you who are fans of Blue Bloods, the Reagans on Blue Bloods are not the only Reagans on TV this Friday night.
1 yard loss for Aiden Smith. 3rd down and 11 from the 29.
Third and 11. Wildcats at the 29. There you see Cheddar Tunney sending the signals in. Or with Charlie Pfeiffer, the two other quarterbacks who've played tonight for the Wildcats. And that falls incomplete, going Davis D'Souza's direction. Sanders on the cover.
They tried to clear out the receivers, get the linebackers to drop and run a little shallow cross on the inside there, but just couldn't hook up.
Aiden Shea is deep for the Irish.
Shea deep for the Irish.
I don't think he's deep enough with the wind.
I think he could be down at 2nd and Market Street and he wouldn't be deep enough. It has been stiff tonight.
You go all the way to the Embarcadero.
Treasure Island. You called it, Steve.
Well, I always used to tell my returners it's easier to run up than it is to run back.
57-yard punt, no return. Irish take over.
Why run when you can bike?
Yeah, no, this definitely puts Sacred Heart in a hole here. They could have had some good field position, I think. Special teams play a big factor in these games, and I talk to a lot of coaches, and they don't get a chance to work the special teams as much as they should have or they want to.
Dowling. Uparesa over the middle. Has got the first down and some more. So a great start to the drive right there for Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Yeah, there's a flag on the play. And it came in right where the 3 receivers were. A little bit of discussion going on. Both coaches are going, hey, what's the deal?
Inadvertent flag.
That's an inadvertent penalty flag.
Good job by the crew, talking things out and working it out. Coach Regalia not too happy.
19-yard gain to the 33.
So a pickup of 19.
First down, Irish.
Nice little underneath route, slip route, shallow cross.
Ivy's name at the start of the game was the biggest and the brightest on the marquee for the Irish. But Uparesa, talk about, maybe stealing Best Actor award on Oscar night.
He's definitely got our vote because he's been playing on both sides of the ball, outstanding. But you also got to understand that Ivy's job is kind of a decoy here to set up the other players. If he's the guy with the target on his back all the time, he's getting double covered. You can see the safety playing over the top of him a lot of the times.
And he's getting the opposition's best defenders most nights. Dowling with time. And that's Reagan's.
Taken down by Shockey, Gallegos Hunkin. 2-yard gain to the 34.
Pickup of 2, and it's going to be 3rd and 8.
Down and 9.
Very important down right here for Sacred Heart.
Trying to keep the drive alive. And nearly picked off. Great play there by Daniel Lombardi.
Lombardi with it. From linebacker position, Lombardi does a great job of getting underneath that route.
From the 34-yard line, 4th and 9.
Wow. Leaves his feet and everything to go ahead and tip that ball away.
Well, St. Ignatius with the lead, about to get the ball back. Not a great kick. And the Irish cover it well because that was going to take a nasty roll.
They were trying to say that it went off of a white player. Yes, it did.
The Irish keep it.
Because the ball was live. It touched a Wildcat. See right here.
Ball is recovered by the Irish.
Right there, went off the helmet.
Right on the noggin.
Yep, of number 87, the tight end. Stewart
right now, the loneliest man in San Francisco. That's a hard one to hide from. And Dowling hoping to seize the momentum.
Interception.
And that is picked off by Patrick Timmons. And Ivy absolutely frustrated.
Well, they got him double covered. They got a safety over the top, and they got a corner underneath. You see right here. Well, they didn't have him double covered, but it was tipped. Great job.
That's the second tip that has really benefited the Wildcats tonight. The other one caught for a touchdown, or actually kept the drive alive that set up a field goal.
That's right.
From the 10-yard line.
And the Wildcats take over 1st and 10 from their own 10 with 8:50 to go.
Wildcats have gotten a couple of good bounces. I mean, that punt went awry on them, but they've had a couple of tip balls go their way.
And right now, I think one of the things you think about is how long possessions are going to be and timeouts remaining. Smith to Gallegos Hunkin. And Shockey staying on his feet. The Irish scoop it up. Mixon's got it. Touchdown, Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Well, we got a couple flags on the field here. It's going to be holding against the Wildcats. The play is going to stand.
And Barry McLaughlin right now the happiest man in San Francisco.
Coach Regalia, probably one of the most upset young men in the city of San Francisco right now.
And so Barry's team, where the momentum swing, retaking the lead. Mixon recovering the fumble, and now Dowling, and this is a big PAT, Steve, because you swing between 3 and 4 points on the lead.
Absolutely. I don't know why holders always put their front leg. They don't want to put your front leg up. You want your back leg up.
It's good.
Extra point attempt is up and good. With 8:38 to go in the ball game.
Field position has been a big thing right here. There's a hold. You see Hunk can go outside. The ball gets punched out of his arms. And, of course, a running back scoops and scores.
Yeah.
Running back linebacker.
You know, we've talked about the history of this rivalry. When you talk about scoop and score, there's a very special day in the history of Sacred Heart Cathedral football. 5 scoop and score touchdowns.
That's right. You were telling us about that
it was 10 years ago. It was the fall of 2011. They played St. Mary's Berkeley over on the Panthers' home field, which is actually in Albany because the city line runs through the campus.
Right.
But the Irish defense had 5, and it took a few weeks. And then USA Today said that is a record for all levels of organized football.
Wow.
And what was ironic was they met for the CCS championship that year and basically lost it on a scoop and score.
You're going to see right here the ball gets popped out, punched out. It's live, mixing with heads up. He just goes down, like you said, scoop and score. He's got some blockers out in front of him, and they knock Natani down. Yep.
So Tyrese Ivy knocked the ball out.
Yep.
And then opened the door for Mixon to get to the end zone. And for Ivy, that's got to be
vindication,
a moment of major redemption.
That's right. He vindicated himself.
He's had a frustrating night.
Well, he tipped the ball that gave them the possession down there inside the red zone. Gave the Wildcats the ball inside the red zone.
Well, I think what Ivy just showed us, it's great to have a very selective short-term memory. And this is a live ball. The Cats have to cover it, or the play will go nowhere. Gallegos Hunkin. And, you know, you got to think about something. Okay, so there's no WCAL title this year. There's no CCS playoffs. It's a 4-game season.
Well, the San Francisco schools, there's 3 San Francisco schools. They can only play a county that is attached to San Francisco, and that would be San Mateo. And that only leaves Serra.
Or Marin or Alameda.
Right.
Yeah.
And, of course, Marin and Alameda aren't going to go ahead and cross the bridge to come down and play, so it only leaves Serra an opportunity to come up here and play against San Francisco school.
And Smith short of his target. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, and here's the crazy thing. You know, it is a shorter trip for either of these schools to go play St. Francis and Mountain View. But they can't play them because they're 2 counties away. But they could go out and play Granada or Livermore in eastern Alameda County, and it would be fine.
Yeah, I talked with Patrick Walsh yesterday because I'm going to do the game tomorrow over at Reardon. And Patrick was talking about how the WCAL, they split it up, and San Francisco couldn't play anybody in the South. And, of course, San Mateo was the only school that really had the opportunity. They could go ahead and go down and play a Santa Clara school, or they could come up here and play a San Francisco school. So Patrick opted to go ahead and stay up with the play against some San Francisco schools here.
You know, Patrick's done a great job at Serra because before he got there, they were a pretty good football school, but everybody thought of them as a baseball school.
Absolutely.
And he's kind of changed that narrative.
No, Patrick is, I can't say enough good things about Patrick. And he's probably one of the reasons that we're playing football right now because of his movement, getting coaches together, creating a coalition, and, going up to state capitol to go ahead and get the government to go ahead and change their thought process.
Well, I was in Texas a couple of weeks ago when the USF women's team played in a tournament down there to end the season. And I got talking to somebody in Fort Worth, and they said, "Oh, you're playing football in California. Is it like spring football?" I said, No, it's not like the A&M or the Texas or the SMU spring game. You know, it's like real football. Well, we already played our season.
Exactly.
And they were playing baseball when I was down there and just finishing up basketball. So Smith has thrown 6 straight incomplete passes. This time he keeps it on the ground with Shannon. And Shannon gets brought down, and he stays in bounds.
There's a penalty. Shannon pointed his fingers at number 12 like he was shooting a gun, and you can't do that. You gotta be smart. Shannon, that was a big mistake. So it's going to be a dead ball foul. 15 yards.
Penalty is unsportsmanlike conduct against St. Ignatius.
And remember, it'll still be second down because the play ran.
Third down.
Because
it was a dead ball foul. Right here, number 12 comes up and makes a great tackle. Now watch when Shannon gets up, what he does in his face. There's a pistol. Boom.
Not smart.
No, you gotta be smart out here. When a game is so close and you have an opportunity, 8 minutes left, you don't do something like that. I'm sure Coach Regalia is going to have a nice talk with him.
Right now, 3rd and 23. They've got to get out to the 38-yard line. Smith.
Screen.
And Smith got in potential trouble there.
Yes,
and watching Rayshawn Spears, he was a little frustrated. He thought he should have had him in the end zone for a safety. So 4th down coming up, and the Wildcats punting with the wind. Aiden Shea is the deep man for the Fighting Irish.
Again, Shea's not deep enough. He's at the 50-yard line right now. The ball's traveled 57, 60, and 75 so far today with the wind at its back.
And a great kick here. And what are they saying? What are they saying in Augusta this weekend? A nice layup at the end of the fairway.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't. What's the young man thinking there? If I was a coach, I'd come unglued in a situation like that.
As long as you don't come unglued in the broadcast booth.
Never. Are you kidding? This is the calmest I've been at football.
This is my happy place.
Oh, I love it. I love it. The broadcast booth is a great place to be.
I put headsets on. It's the closest I get to being a commercial airline pilot.
You got what?
17-13 Sacred Heart Cathedral and the Irish. You want to do two things on this drive. You want to eat some time and you want to get some points.
85.
And Reagan's.
85 yards to go.
At what point, if you're Barry McLaughlin, do you tell guys like Reagan's, get up very slowly?
Absolutely. I heard you talking about that in the freshman game. The freshman, you learn to get up slow and eat clock. The other thing, too, is, how quick are the officials going to go ahead and blow that 40-second clock?
Which I wish was visible to the fans.
Ooh.
And Dowling, with a sigh of relief right there, hangs onto it by a whisker.
Right there. High snap, mishandled by Dowling, but he does a good job of falling on the ball. The worst thing that could happen would be to give it away down there.
We're seeing more and more spread offenses, more and more shotgun look at the lower levels of football. How hard is it for the center to snap consistently to the quarterback and have it be in the same place every time?
Elements play a key role in that. The center's hands get cold, the ball could be wet.
And so Reagan's hangs on, but all he does is buy some room for the punter. Boyden on the stop for St. Ignatius.
Here's a little screen play to the back. Great job of chasing him down by Natani. Natani has been everywhere tonight, George.
Yeah, you see Gallegos hunking in the middle of the mess, the party. McGannon is deep, Dowling to punt, and it's tough to kick into the wind. And the Wildcats are going to have great field position.
Absolutely. They're starting on the Sacred Heart side of the field. The 46-yard line.
Aiden Shea has played a great game tonight on the corner. And Keen Dowling.
This has really turned out to be a really good game here.
It's been a great game. Been a lot of fun to work the broadcast and just see some great efforts by these young men from both schools. Smith going deep, completes it. Touchdown Wildcats.
Big home run hit.
Galvin Flynn into the end zone for the score.
Broken coverage. They were blitzing. They had man-to-man coverage. The receiver got over the top of the coverage, wide open. And Smith does a good job delivering the ball. They're going to go for two. Nope. They're not chasing points.
Grassi for the extra point. And remember, this is key. You make this 3-point game. All the field goal does is tie it. No question about its authenticity right there. It's good.
With 5:41 to go in the game, the score
Right here, the blitz coming. Smith just stays in. There's the broken coverage. Nobody over the top.
Amber Smith had kind of cooled down. He had the 6 incompletions in a row. And but sometimes this game comes down to guys that you didn't hear of them until they made a big play. And for Kieran Galvin Quinn,
that was the biggest.
He was not on our depth chart in terms of, guys we were going to see a lot.
Nope. And he comes up with the money play.
We're talking about the scoop and score game for Sacred Heart Cathedral 10 years ago. Well, they played St. Ignatius for the CCS championship, and a guy named Danny O'Malley had a scoop and score that got St. Ignatius back in the game in the second half, and then it was just a matter of time, and they should have been down 3 possessions, and all of a sudden,
right back in the fray,
and they won it. And Danny O'Malley will forever be
in SI folklore,
in the lore of this rivalry.
That's right.
The first ever postseason game between these two schools. It only took 100-something years. Clean catch for the Irish. And Cornican kind of has to unfold himself right there.
26-yard line, 1st and 10, Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Uparesa, and strategically for the Irish, gets out of bounds. But they're going to say that he was brought down inbounds.
Huh. Interesting.
Peter Quill was on that stop.
6-yard gain to the 32.
Gain of 6. It's 2nd and 4 at the 32. Uparesa is the slot guy at the bottom of your screen. And he catches it for the first down for Sacred Heart Cathedral. That'll stop the clock with 5 minutes to go. Yeah, you're talking earlier about Patrick Walsh at Serra, and one of his great expressions is championship drive. And Steve, what do you see as the key here for a championship drive for Sacred Heart Cathedral?
Take your time. Don't rush things. Don't force anything. And they're doing a great job right here taking what's given to them. The coverage is played off. They got 3 receivers up to the top, 1 down to the bottom.
Dowling to the near side. And Ivy. So Ivy close to first down yardage. Timmons on the stop. There you get a good look at Ivy.
Ivy does a good job. Like I said, he pushes the defender backwards, creates a cushion, just turns, shows his numbers to Dowling, and Dowling delivered the ball. You see, look at the cushion there number 21's playing on.
And tipped on the way to Ivy. Jack Burnett.
Burnett, that's right. Burnett does a great job there. He may not get into the backfield to tackle, but he gets his hands up and creates a wall that Dowling has to throw over, and Dowling can't complete it.
And sometimes all it takes is a fingertip.
Yep.
That's all it takes.
Redirect the ball.
Smallest of margins. 2nd and 10. Dowling after a bad snap. Trying to evade trouble and has all sorts of extra life. He picks up 6. I don't know how he wasn't tackled for a loss.
Well, if he was a cat, he's probably only got about 1 or 2 lives left because he used 6 or 7 of them on that last play. Look at this. Scrambles. He's dead to rights there. 1, Natani. 2, 3 misses him. 4 misses.
Gallegos
5.
Hunkin missed him.
The 6th and 7th man had to bring him down. Great job by Dowling.
Santino Franco finally wrapped him up. And who's calling the timeout here?
Looks like timeout SI.
St. Ignatius.
SI timeout, yep.
And I think John Regalia right here kind of thinking momentum is shifted to the Irish. We'll see if the momentum stays with the green and white of Sacred Heart Cathedral after this. And back here at Kezar, Sacred Heart Cathedral trails it by 3 with 3:39 left. The Irish have 2 timeouts remaining. St. Ignatius just spent its penultimate timeout here in the 4th quarter. And Dowling under pressure. Escaped earlier. And this time gets a little closer to a first down, but still about 2 yards to go.
He sidestepped Hunkin. Does a good job scrambling. Gets out. Runs outside of the defender. Slips inside of Hunkin, but gets tackled by number 3 right there. This is a big play right here.
Play of the game for the Irish.
I think they're going to go ahead. They're going to have to call timeout.
That's what they're going to do.
Timeout on Sacred Heart.
And so, in this timeout, Steve, how much of this is strategy? How much of it is calming nerves?
It's a little bit of both. I'm not at practice, so I don't know what, they do normally and stuff like that. But you got 4th and 2, and I know the defense is going to come with their ears pinned back. If you could go on a hard count, you could keep your offense from jumping off sides, this would be a big time to go ahead and work on that hard count. Go ahead and settle everybody down, get them all on the same page. Great shot from our camera in the huddle. And over there on the other side, the defense is saying, hold your water. Get up into the line. Don't give them that 4th down. You guys got to really come across the line of scrimmage.
Just good look there at Big Burnett for St. Ignatius.
There you go. They're lining up. They're pinching down.
A chance of defense from the few St. Ignatius fans here.
Oh.
And nowhere to go for Dowling.
Great coverage sack. Dowling had nowhere to go with the ball. They kept him in the pocket. They stayed in their rush lanes, and they were able to go ahead and put Dowling down.
So Dowling pushed back to his own 45-yard line.
Right here. They got him blocked. Dowling tries to escape, get outside, but they kept him in the pocket. Good job by the defense. Number 12.
So Peter Quill making the big play right there. And right now, you think about clock management. Each team has 1 timeout left. And if you're St. Ignatius, it's stay inside the tackles, get up slowly.
Yep, that's what they did. Actually, it was a direct snap to Shannon on that.
Final timeout is taken by the Irish.
And the Irish take the timeout with 2:45 to go, and Barry McLaughlin and company are out of them. By the way, a great story about Barry. He mentioned earlier he played on a national champion at City College of San Francisco and then went on to Utah State where he met his wife, Haley. Their son is named Logan in honor of Logan, Utah.
Yep.
And great football tradition at Utah State, the Aggies. Merlin Olsen played there, and there's a lovely statue of Merlin at the south end of their football stadium.
Yep.
And
for those of you that aren't old like George and I, Merlin Olsen was one of the fearsome foursome for the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah. Deacon Jones. But Merlin Olsen, before he was a star, guest star in Little House on the Prairie, and before he was an NFL analyst, great. I think one of the top NFL analysts ever on TV with Dick Enberg on NBC. And that's also where Lavelle Edwards, the great BYU coach, went to college. So great football tradition at Utah State. About an hour and a half north of Salt Lake City.
And you compress everything here. Line of scrimmage, double tight, up back. The tight end got a first down.
Great screenplay right there to Cooper. Sanders on the stop.
He's got enough for a Wildcats first down.
With no timeouts left, you don't want to throw. Sacred Heart, no timeouts left. SI does not want to throw the ball. They want to keep the ball on the ground.
But this has been an extremely competitive, compelling, and entertaining game tonight.
No, it's been a great game. Back and forth, seesaw. They're trying to milk the clock here. He's looking over at the sidelines. Coach Regalia is telling him when to go ahead and snap the ball.
You can see the John holding a stopwatch in his hand. Not one of those phone apps either. Shannon on the sweep. And Shannon's got another first down. Ivy on the stop.
That's what the Wildcats want to do. They want to go ahead and continue to keep the ball on the ground, keep it inside the sidelines.
Shannon just going over 100 yards for the night. And we're almost at the point where you can go into the victory formation.
Yeah. They may call a timeout here, call him to the sidelines. You can see him standing next to the official, Coach Regalia. There it is.
So with a minute 11 left. The Wildcats spend their last time out. But, I think a lot of people expected after the Irish, got blown out in their first game by Reardon and had a rough go against Sarah. I think a lot of folks thought, okay, St. Ignatius is a heavy favorite. You wouldn't have known that watching tonight's game.
No, absolutely not. Sacred Heart came to play. They played with a lot of heart. This game has meant a lot, and Coach McLaughlin said to us on our in our Zoom call this week that getting out on the field brings the emotions out in you. Here's your victory formation. There's 40 seconds off of this.
Now, remember, this game does not count toward the Bruce Mahoney standings because this year is incomplete for sports, but hopefully in about 6 months, we'll see these two teams again. The trophy will be on the line. We'll have thousands of people here. We can smell the barbecue.
We can taste the barbecue.
We can
I
taste
hope.
the barbecue, and it'll be just like it's always been.
Yeah, I think everybody in the world has been waiting for that.
Yeah, next year here at Kezar, and that'll do it. The Wildcats of St. Ignatius will squeak out of here with the victory over Sacred Heart Cathedral, 20-17. A big night for Jashai Shannon. He rushes for 100-plus yards, and the Wildcats make it 2 straight victories in the series over the Fightin Irish. And Steve, just great to renew this rivalry.
No, this is it's been a fantastic event here. Not a lot of people, but hopefully a lot of people at home watching. 2 great teams, 2 great coaches, 1 great city, George.
Absolutely. And speaking of looking ahead, St. Ignatius will have lights on its home field next year, and Sacred Heart Cathedral has access to a new practice field. So both programs with a lot of growth potential moving forward. And these young men did not disappoint this evening. So, always a pleasure to work with you, Steve.
Always. Hey, I get to work with the true professional, George.
Well, likewise, my friend. This has been a lot of fun, and these are the guys who make it fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. Congratulations to St. Ignatius and Sacred Heart. You got nothing to hang your head down upon. You played a great game, Coach McLaughlin. Keep your spirits up.
Yeah, and Aiden Smith, a big second half for St. Ignatius, propelling them to the victory. He came off the bench at quarterback, went 6 of 14 for 150 yards. And Jashai Shannon had 100 yards on the ground tonight for the Wildcats. The regular season finales are next week for these 2 teams. And the Fighting Irish will host Reardon here at Kezar, and we'll see you back on the Bay Area Online Sports Network with that one. Well, it's always fun when these 2 old rivals get together, and a lot of highlights. Keen Dowling, Aiden Smith both played great games at quarterback, and Smith airing it out for the touchdown right there. And the Wildcats come away with the victory. For my partner, Steve Nicolopoulos, this is George Devine wishing a very pleasant good evening from Kezar. And we'll see you soon right here on the Bay Area Online Sports Network.